Here we go. I am here with my good friend Glenn Goldstein. Glenn and I have known each other decades now, and originally I got Glenn to help me with some entertainment lawyery kind of stuff. But Glenn and I have become concert buddies, music pals, and family friends for a long time. And Glenn and I always talk about music and concerts and experiences. So, welcome, Glenn.
Thank you very much. Great to be here, Robbie.
So, a lot of people who would not know you, where did you come from, and what was your earliest exposure memories of music in your life?
Sure. So I grew up in Albany, New York, which is the state capital. And it was not a cultural wasteland, but it was certainly not a cultural hotspot. So back in my day, it was the AM radio, and we were all devoted to certain AM radio stations and the hits. I was lucky to grow up with the British invasion, the Beatles when each of those songs were coming out, the Beach Boys when those songs first came out. That was exciting.
Yeah,
And we kind of learned that music was the best thing in life that we could hope to attain at those young ages.
yeah,
So around 13, I started dancing to this music because we'd go to bar mitzvah parties, including my own.
yeah.
But eventually, I became aware of Rolling Stone magazine and I started reading it. And I learned there was a world beyond AM radio and beyond sock hops. And eventually, there was, a little bit of FM radio and what was called album rock, and a growing awareness of music that wasn't just based on hit singles.
Right.
So I was like hungry to go see this stuff. And so the first one I'd like to talk about happened, one of my first, not my first concert, but
All right.
seminal and just iconic, was November 10th of 1969. And I was 15 years old, and it was The Who at the Palace Theater
Wow.
in Albany, New York. And this was all based upon a song from the year before on the AM radio called I Can See for Miles.
Okay.
And for anyone who ever sees this video, if you know this song, you'll understand why I had to see The Who.
And
If you don't
that
know
was
the
the only
song,
song you knew, or did you know other
that
stuff?
was kind of it. Aware of like a couple other things, but that song was such a statement of everything that I felt about music in my bones and the drumming and the guitar, just all of it, the attitude.
Yeah.
So I dragged another kid along, and he came mainly because his dad was willing to pick us up at the end of the concert, which, yeah, my dad was not. My dad drove us down. This is truth. But this guy came. I don't know that he ever saw another concert in his life.
Wow.
But we went, and this, I want to place historically, is just like 2.5, 3 months after Woodstock.
Okay.
So most of America did not know The Who until the movie came out in 1970. Most of America did not know Tommy, the rock opera, until the movie came out in 1970 and showcased See Me, Feel Me. And then that's when Tommy took off. But in November, just a couple months after the actual concert, before the film, at the Palace Theater, the Who come on and perform Tommy in its entirety.
Wow.
But no one had heard it. And wow is correct. So they opened with a few songs, probably Can't Explain, a couple things that were typical
Right.
openers. And then they explained it. We're going to do this for you now.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable to
Wow.
hear it for the first time. And I want to note Keith Moon at full power.
Yeah.
A lot of people are aware of how he dissipated. Keith Moon at the peak of his powers, never stopped for the entire Tommy, if the whole show.
Right.
Pete Townsend with the windmills,
All
Roger
of that.
Daltrey throwing the mic. And this is in a movie theater that might be held 2,000 people.
Wow.
Well, I knew right then and there. I mean, the path forward was clear. And they were just amazing. And so I don't know how much detail you want. I don't know if you want me to, keep moving to other
Well,
shows.
I mean, was there wasn't there an incident where you handed something to Pete Townsend, or is that my made up
Yeah,
imagination?
that was not me. We had decent seats. I think about it. They were not terrible. I wasn't that close.
Gotcha. So what
Yeah,
you
no, they
mentioned it
were
wasn't
formidable.
you mentioned it wasn't your first concert. So what was your first concert?
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Oh, very
Blood, Sweat, and
cool.
Tears with a full horn section.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, no, that was fantastic. And I think a month before The Who, also just from Woodstock, Paul Butterfield Blues Band
Oh,
with a
excellent.
full horn section, including David Sanborn,
Oh man.
a young David Sanborn.
People don't
Yeah, no,
recognize how
I
far he
was
goes
loving
back.
that.
Yeah,
This
people don't
was all
recognize
in all,
David
yeah,
Sanborn. Like David Sanborn goes back very far, and he became this kind of smooth jazz guy. But
that's right.
he was on Young Americans
That's
and
right.
playing sax.
That's
Like
right.
he had a history. A lot of people took them a long time to get to that, but that's really
That's
cool
right.
that you saw him in that realm.
Yes. And so this was in Albany. This was all, it being a 15-year-old.
Yeah,
Um, did see some more good things before I left for college, but going away to college in that era was the game changer
right.
because there were concerts on campus
Yep.
and there were concerts that other kids said, hey, let's go jump in the car and drive to,
Right.
and still upstate New York.
Yep.
But the diversity exploded.
Right.
And so there I would talk about so many, but two I want to mention. I noticed when I put my list together, typical, almost all men. Typical
Interesting.
rock and roll concert going, so many men. But
Right.
in 1974, two of the best and most iconic were amazing. Joni Mitchell
Mm,
and the LA Express, right when Court and Spark came out,
wow.
and could not have been a finer show.
I
She
bet.
looked beautiful. Um, I was way up front, which was one of my favorites. What a shock.
Yeah.
And really, just a month or two earlier, Linda Ronstadt at
Oh.
Cortland College. Cortland College was probably under an hour away from Ithaca.
And you were at Cornell for those who don't know.
Yes, yes. I was at Cornell University. So a lot of these shows were 72 to 76
Yep.
of that ilk. But here was Joni at Barton Hall. Barton
Mm,
Hall was famous 3 years later for a Grateful Dead show
right. The infamous
that
77
some
show.
consider the best Dead show ever. I was gone by then.
Yeah.
But Linda, this was before You're No Good. They did that as an encore, but it hadn't even come out yet.
Wow.
And she could not have been more beautiful or sounded more amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so these were women who were owning it in the 70s.
Yep.
Um, so eventually I graduated college. I moved to Philly
Yeah.
and started seeing concerts immediately.
Tower Theater, Spectrum.
Tower Theater, Spectrum, the Mann Music Center, all kinds of venues.
Yeah.
I did note that once I started working and I had more money,
Yeah.
I did see even more shows. Interesting how
Imagine
that,
that.
imagine how that correlated. So in the fall of 79, when I had started working finally,
Yeah.
on November 7th of 79 was Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Oh, wow.
And that was really iconic
Yeah.
because this was still general admission. And it's just not that far before that terrible accident happened with The Who in Cincinnati, where people
Yeah.
died. They
Right.
opened doors, Robbie. You may remember reading about
I
this, hearing
do.
about this.
Yep. Big time.
I was at this point 25, not the 15 of some of the earlier stories or early 20s. Now
Yeah.
I'm a grown man at 25. So we went to see Bob Marley and the Wailers. They opened the doors. And I've often said, this was the fastest I have ever run in my entire life. Right. Because I never had like a bear coming after me. You know
Right.
what I mean? And when I was younger, I wasn't that athletic. And I got older, you get older.
Yeah.
But I was kind of at that moment. I'm sure I had sneakers on.
Yeah.
They opened the doors, and I had just so much turbo thrust. Me and my two buddies, we ended up third row, dead center, the
Wow.
best possible. Yeah, we were right there.
Man.
And this was one of those shows where everyone stands on their chair the whole concert.
Yep.
So we were third row, dead center, standing on our chairs the whole
Just looking
concert.
right at Bob Marley. That's
Oh yeah,
amazing.
looking right on it, the full rhythm section, all the brother, totally.
Yeah.
Instead of the I3s that night, one of them was on maternity leave. It was the I2s, two of
Okay.
the three. They
Yeah.
sounded great. What can I tell you about that night? Until that night, I never understood how you could dance to reggae.
Ah.
I had been dancing since I mentioned
Yep.
age 13.
Yeah.
I had danced my way through the 70s, disco, non-disco, punk,
Yep.
but I never could quite figure out the rhythm. And that night, Bob taught me indirectly because he moved the entire time.
Right.
And he was moving and singing and owning it, but he didn't move like anybody I'd ever seen before.
Right.
He had his own thing, of course, but he was Bob Marley.
Right.
So, Rob, you may remember, but one time I was visiting you and you had a friend, a woman from Florida,
Yeah.
and you introduced me as a guy who saw a lot of concerts
Yes.
back in the day.
Yes,
And the
sir.
woman looked me in the eye. She had one question. She was not interested in a whole lot of fangle dangle. Did you or did you not see Bob Marley and the Wailers? Yes, ma'am. Yes, I did. And, that was it. She was happy. It was great. It was just, thank goodness. Oh, my
Yeah.
God. Anyway,
Um,
that was very cool.
and
Yes.
so at the end of the 70s, we had that disco era, maybe 76 to 78. By the end of the 70s, you had a lot of new wave, you had
Oh,
Talking
yeah.
Heads, you had the Police, different
Yeah.
bands that were opening up the
Yes.
sound of rock and roll. So of those bands in those early days, when a band like the Police would come and play clubs for their first, van tour of the States, who did you see? I think you told me you saw U2 early on.
So you two early on, the one you just said, saw the Police. So a friend
Orlando,
of
Stay
mine
More.
yeah. Not tiny, but really small. And the Police had so little material at this point, they did one of the songs twice.
Wow.
I Can't Stand Losing You from the first album.
Yeah.
They literally did it twice. I've never seen that. Yeah, that's
No.
how little material they had. So that was, right when Roxanne came out, like early 79.
Yep.
So Elvis Costello in late 77. That was quite early. That was his first time in
Beautiful.
Philly.
Yeah.
So the Clash in 79, first time in Philly. Um, saw Talking Heads in 80, Blondie in 80, Debbie
Cars.
Harry, baby.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Did you see the
You
Cars?
did see the Cars, 1982,
Yeah.
U2, 1981. Yeah, we were active. But then eventually, um, I don't know, for my list, I jumped ahead to California, believe it or not.
Well, before we get to California, because that opens up a whole another chapter, let's go back to your earlier concert going days. Talk to me about the
Yes.
Allman Brothers Band.
Yes. So I'm sad to say I never got to see Dwayne, but I did get to see the revamped Allman Brothers Band twice in the summer of 73,
Oh,
touring
sweet.
Brothers and Sisters.
Yes.
So this was when Chuck Leavell first joined, and but they had JMO,
Yep.
but J. Johnny Johnson, Butch Trucks, Dickie Betts,
Now, at that
Ramblin'
time,
Man.
was Barry
Ramblin' Man
Oakley
was on the
was Barry
yeah, it
Oakley
was the
still on
guy
bass?
Lamar Williams who came in. I think that was his
Right.
name
Yep.
because yeah. So I'm at Madison Square Garden, my first time at the Garden, summer of
Nice.
73, and then in Saratoga Performing Arts Center, upstate New York.
Oh, beautiful.
So
That's a Matt.
Dickie played a lot of long solos.
Imagine that.
Yes, he was trying to fill the space of what had been two guitarists who used
It's
to
hard.
take long solos. But they did all the material off of Brothers and Sisters, including the hit single,
Yep.
Ramblin' Man. And that new sound with the piano forward,
Yep.
which really hadn't existed, was exciting. You know, we were
Yeah.
just excited.
Yeah.
But I will say they played really long, really,
Yeah.
really, 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 like 3.5 plus. But then,
Almost too long.
yeah, I think that eventually became kind of the thought. Um,
Did you also see the Dead back in the day?
so yes,
Speaking of long
I
concerts.
don't know if I can show. Is this showing?
Yes.
So
That's awesome.
this is March of '73, Nassau Coliseum,
Yep.
uh, Long Island, New York,
That's amazing.
and that was the first shows they did after Pigpen died.
Gotcha.
So did not see Pigpen.
Yeah.
But yeah, the New Riders of the Purple Sage, for any of the Deadhead people, the New Riders opened, and be hard for people to believe it. The opening act at 1 hour and 40.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
long night, long
Long
night.
night.
And then an intermission. Oh
And
yeah.
then the Dead.
And then the Dead for like 3.5. Oh yeah, this actually
Man.
happened, right? And we were standing up front like the whole time.
Yeah.
Eventually, even though I was like literally 19, my legs, I couldn't take it anymore.
I bet.
And I started walking up and up the bleachers. I finally found somewhere to sit, like 100 rows up.
Yeah.
And in a pre-cell phone era, the question was, would I ever find my friends again? Because they're down on the floor. It
Right.
didn't matter. It didn't
Right.
matter. I could not stand because we tailgated before the concert.
Oh
So you've
man.
literally been standing. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. And you know, the substances that you might have been amenable to also made you just want to fucking sit down at some point, brother.
It happens.
Yeah.
Um,
So yes,
so
I did find them afterwards. Yes.
did you ever see Traffic back in the day?
Never saw traffic. Period.
Period.
Never saw traffic. I
Oh.
saw Stevie Winwood later. You saw traffic.
I saw Traffic, yeah, in the 90s when they reunited. I saw two shows, and then I saw Steve Winwood with you numerous times. Always a great guy to catch. I would have to say, on a slight side note, he never touches Arc of a Diver live.
I
And
know.
often when he plays live, he does Give Me Some Lovin', Dear Mr. Fantasy, but he never digs into the rest of the catalog. And to go for a, Evening Blue or Many a Mile to Freedom, I mean, there's still people that want to hear that stuff, you know?
So
Steve, if you're listening.
someone who was famous for not touring was Carly Simon,
Yes.
and saw her around 1971 when I was
Hmm.
still in high school before she stopped touring.
Ah,
Early. Her opening act was her future brother-in-law, Livingston Taylor.
yes.
Yes,
Did you see James back in the day? James Taylor?
yes. So James, and he was good. You know,
Yeah.
who was really impressive was Cat Stevens at his peak.
Oh,
Cat Stevens around 71.
oh, wow.
Yeah, touring behind like Teaser and the Firecat
Yep.
and all that. Yeah, he was truly excellent. Really had it, whether he was at the piano or,
Yeah.
center stage. Yeah,
Great
no,
talent.
I mean, it's been a great run, buddy.
So here's a question for you. Who did you see that you did not think was going to be as good as they were, and they just blew you away? And you went, and maybe with lowered expectations even,
Ah,
because the opposite of that is Al Green. Who
yeah,
did you have
right.
high
No,
hopes
Al
for
Green. Yeah,
that
Al
did not
Green, the
deliver?
fresh. Well, I'll tell you, a band you have had a relationship with called The Doors.
Yes.
Now, later I saw them with your brother-in-law, Brett,
Yep.
but before that, I saw a reunion thing with this Ian Asbury
Yes, of the
as the
Cults.
front man.
Yes.
Yes. And my cousin took me at the Tower Theater, and we were way, 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 way. He had amazing connections. We were way up front. And I had the lowest possible. He was apologizing as we were walking from the car to the thing. I'm saying to him, "Cuz, it's good. We're here.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're just gonna."
Yeah.
And it was amazing. They had a full production. He imitated like he was Jim,
Yeah.
which is not what Brett did.
No.
Brett did Brett.
Yeah.
And that was a great time. We saw that at House of Blues
Super.
Anaheim.
Yeah.
Great time. But this was in a bigger venue with a different presentation.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, there's Robbie Krieger and Ray Manzarek and those songs.
Yes.
And the rest of the band, it was not John Densmore, who they were feuding with. But
Right.
of course, the backup band was terrific.
Yep.
Here's the two guys, and here's a guy who's channeling Jim.
Yes.
And channeling him in a way that was surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I mean, with these other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, better than a hologram, Robbie.
They wouldn't have picked him if they didn't have that feeling. Same with Brett, they had a feeling, it felt
Right.
good, and you just go with that.
Yeah. So that outperformed, that punched way beyond its weight. I will say, because you asked about the Allman Brothers,
Yeah.
at both of those shows in 73, the opening act, this is when Southern rock was just starting to get a little traction.
Yes.
And the opening act, no one had ever heard of. Same band both times on the tour because they were on the same label from Macon, Georgia. You remember the label, Capricorn Records.
Capricorn Records, sure.
And there was a band called the Marshall Tucker Band.
Oh, nice.
And a guy named Toy Caldwell on lead guitar.
Yep.
Who did not use a pick.
No.
And they were freaking blow away for a band you never heard of.
Right.
That you really didn't come to see an opening act. And each time, well, what did I do back in that era? It was very simple. You went to a record store,
right,
your first opportunity, and bought the record.
Right.
And then discovered what you loved, some of which was on the record and some of which was not.
Right.
And that was a common thing.
So what other bands have you seen an opening act that like blew the doors off in that?
Well, it's funny you asked that, Robbie, because I made a list of 3 nights where the opening act blew the headliners off the stage.
Love it.
Which is different than
right.
what I just mentioned with Marshall Tucker.
Correct.
And one of those nights, a band called Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes.
Yes.
And this was in D.C.
Opening for who?
And this is during my law school years, which was 76 to 79. Open for a very tepid Robert Palmer.
Wow.
Robert Palmer, who just kind of went through this kind of, and meanwhile, the opening act, 5-piece horn section.
Oh, man.
Southside Johnny was laying it all on the stage. It was so powerful, and Robert Palmer was not.
Interesting.
Another example of that was, it seemed like an odd pairing. I went to see UB40.
Okay.
With my wife, Susan, who you know very well. Yeah. It was a summer concert, little reggae, and they were fine.
In the kitchen, yeah.
They were fine. But again, a band from Jersey came and left it all on the stage, blood on the track. A band called the Smithereens.
Oh, wow.
Who is very tuneful, very melodic. Well, that night, they were there. They walked on to AC/DC's For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. That was their walk-on music. This is like a power pop band.
Right, not a pairing with UB40.
No, they came on. I mean, it was AC/DC was in the venue for a good 60 seconds minimum. And then they came on, and they just, it was still their melodic material. They just smoked. UB40 couldn't touch it.
Wow.
And the last of this ilk, I already mentioned Blondie. And you know what? Blondie was good. I mean, it was before Blondie super broke.
Right.
But they still had Heart of Glass.
Yeah.
And
Tide is High.
But it was before some of the stuff, the mega stuff. They were good. Debbie Harry, she was good.
Yeah.
But the opening act, once again, decided it was their night. A band called Rockpile.
Wow.
This was
Dave Edmonds.
Nick Lowe and Dave Edmonds.
Yeah.
With a great rest of the band. One of the guys, I think, joined the Pretenders, Billy Brent. Anyway, they never stopped. They did 45 minutes where a song stopped the next one began.
Nice.
Dave to Nick, Nick to Dave.
Yeah.
They were flawless. They
Nice.
came to own it, and
Nice.
own it they did.
Yeah.
So let's jump ahead. Let's jump
Yeah.
ahead to a show you and I saw together. And this
Okay.
was very specific.
Yes.
I wanted to make a note of all the shows Glenn and Robbie saw together.
Okay.
The one I picked to showcase
Yes.
was on July 21st of 2006. So
Okay.
I moved to California in '02.
All right.
You moved to California before that,
Oh one.
'01.
Yep.
And by '06, you and I got in a car and drove hours to a casino called Saboba to see a band called Steely Dan,
Oh man.
who we saw many, many times. But this night, we saw Steely Dan in July of '06.
Yep.
We drove 3 hours each way, partially because of the traffic on the way
Right.
out. On the way back, they closed two different freeways.
Yep.
We ended up driving through, like, I don't know what the hell, Orange County in the middle of the night. And
Yep.
we had to eat in a casino where cigarette smoking was allowed, which is not anywhere in California
Not
because
our
you're on
thing.
Indian territory.
Yes.
And when we finally got to the concert, it was outdoors and it was 90 degrees out, literally,
At night. Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
And yet, that's not why it's on the list.
Okay.
It's part of what makes it a
Yeah.
forever
The
story
adventure. Sure.
because they were fantastic.
Yeah.
And because you got us tickets, we were way up front.
Yep.
And who was in front of us was Indian chiefs from the tribe that owned the land.
Digging the Steely Dan.
Digging the Steely Dan. And Steely Dan comes out and is just popping.
Yeah.
Even in that heat.
You've
They
heard.
were like incredible.
Yeah.
And they even did Lost Wages. You know the
Yep.
one.
I do.
Showbiz Kids.
Showbiz
And they were
Kids.
on their way or had just been to Las Vegas.
Yep.
Anyway, at the end, we got to go backstage
Yep.
and talk with your friend, the drummer,
Yep. Keith.
and that
That was-
excellent guitar player, John Harrington, I think is his name.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Yep.
put on my list Steely Dan, outdoors in 90-degree heat, flawless.
And all the hardships, people forget, like back in the day, sometimes going to a venue, I grew up at a place called the Hollywood Sportatorium, and it was miles out in like the swamps, and you had like your Sportatorium sneakers. They were going to get ruined there. So to go on an adventure, to drive all that way, to get to this bizarre place, and I don't know of the people in Hemet, but there was an almost alien crowd there.
Yeah.
It was just all a very surreal, strange night, punctuated by this amazing performance by Steely Dan.
And I
Who
will
we
say
love.
at the peak of the crescendo of them building the set, we are up, we are dancing, we are grooving.
We are sweating.
The whole thing is like a party, and someone taps on my shoulder. Someone I knew from LA was there, a
Wow.
woman on a date. And
Okay.
so in the middle of all this, I literally whip around like is someone hassling me? They're tapping on my shoulder. And it
Yeah.
was Adrian,
That's crazy.
which was a crazy, wonderful, give her a quick hug
Small town.
moment.
Yeah.
All right. And hopefully we don't get interrupted by things happening external to this discussion.
I
If
think
I
we're
do,
all
I
right.
will tell you. If I
Okay.
get interrupted, we could come back.
Sure.
Here's one we both saw, but not together.
Okay.
And I'm going to take you to the Hollywood Bowl.
Okay.
Finally to the Hollywood Bowl. And this, my friend, was August 25th of 2008.
Okay.
I don't know if this is helpful to have actual dates at
It
certain
actually
points.
is because when my house burned down, I lost my
Yes.
concert tickets from California.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this helps fill in stuff that I was
Yes.
at that I don't have the receipt,
Well,
I love
where
Stones.
you were, I'll tell you where I was on August 25th of '08. I was with my son, Daniel,
Yes.
who you know,
Yeah.
and we were inside the Hollywood Bowl to see Radiohead.
Ah, yes.
You were high above the Hollywood Bowl
Yes.
at Mike Mills's house.
That was I don't know if he's supposed to know that. But yeah, it
Well,
was
guess what? It's so long ago. There's a statute of limitations. That's 17 years ago.
there's only wow, that's crazy. There's only two houses up there that actually can look and
That's
see the
right.
stage of the bowl. And a friend was house sitting for him, invited us over to be able to watch a show or two from up there. And yeah, from way up on top, see the whole stage and Radiohead playing. I loved that show. What an
And you
amazing
saw both. You
performance.
saw both nights,
I did. I
and
did.
you were kind enough to have me and Susan visit one night,
Yeah.
and we saw actually Brian Wilson from up there with some fireworks.
Yes.
But during the Radiohead, we were in the venue, and I've often said this was the best show I saw in my California years. And it had to do with the lights,
Yep.
the music, the
Yep.
texture, the sequencing.
Yep.
They were also touring behind my favorite Radiohead album, In Rainbows.
Yes.
They added, not added, they incorporated, they were touring that album. They
Yeah.
did many of their famous songs, of which some of which I knew, some of which I didn't. But they,
Right.
of course, leaned on In Rainbows, which I still think is a brilliant album and is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
We were in a row where we were not far up at all. We were fairly far back, and it didn't matter. The quality, the sound
Oh
of the
yeah.
visuals. We were able to dance. I danced through much of that concert. There was a
Interesting.
row in back. Yeah, I did. I moved. It was like transfixing.
Yeah.
I don't even know how else to put that. So, Radiohead at the Hollywood Bowl. It's the only time I ever saw Radiohead.
Yep.
I did at one point see Tom York, the lead singer, do a tour at the Greek.
All right.
Disliked it immensely.
It happens.
Um, it's also, he does electronic type music as a
Right.
solo artist,
Yep.
which was not my cup of tea.
Right.
So,
So let me ask, I want to ask you about some artists that you and I saw together, but I
yes,
don't know when the first time you saw them was. So I'm going to bring up the late great Jeff Beck. When
yes.
did you first see Jeff Beck live?
First saw Jeff Beck 1976 when I
Oh,
first moved to Philadelphia
Wired
with
tour?
Jan Hammer.
Yeah.
And there is an album called Jeff Beck Live.
From that
And
tour?
yes, from that tour.
Wow.
And had already seen Jan Hammer with Mahavishnu Orchestra,
Wow.
which is
There you
John
go.
McLaughlin.
Yeah.
And Jeff Beck is a huge Mahavishnu Orchestra fan. And so he kind of recruited Jan Hammer out of that into his, which again became the album Wired.
Yeah.
So, which
Did you
was
see
back to
him?
back.
Did you see him pre-wired or post-wired?
Well, so Blow by Blow came out, and then
75,
Wired came out, and then I think it was the
76.
tour right after Wired came out.
Nice. Was that
But
Wilbur Bascombe on bass?
it's hard for me to tell you. I had just moved to Philadelphia. There was two shows that I saw as I was getting my feet wet. Also, big city,
Yeah.
large spectrum,
Yep.
and it was indeed Jeff Beck and, believe it or not, Frank Zappa, who was amazing and played a lot of amazing guitar.
Wow.
Um,
Zappa opened for Jeff Beck?
Two different shows.
Oh,
Two
okay.
different shows.
I was going to say that.
No, two different shows.
Yeah.
Jeff Beck, the thing he liked to do, which McLaughlin did, is Jan and him would throw it back and forth like they
Yeah.
were soloing.
Yeah.
And, very exciting.
Yeah.
Which actually led to the concert I wrote down that I wish you were at with me.
Oh, what?
And the one I wish you were at with me was August 10th of 2016, which was Jeff Beck's 50th at the Hollywood Bowl.
I was not at that show.
You were not there. I was with Louis and Dan, the two sons.
Yep.
It was Dan's birthday, August 10th.
Oh, man.
And the link up was he did have different guests, including Steven Tyler and Billy Gibbons.
Right.
But the one that flipped me out was Jan Hammer.
Came out at the show.
And Jan Hammer came out and they did Blue Wind. And they
Nice.
did stuff from Blow by Blow and
Freeway
Wired.
Jam.
Oh, yeah. And I
Nice.
was like, just a mess. I was like ecstatic. I
Oh, I
was
bet.
like,
And
Crazy
I
with it.
missed the last Jeff Beck show because it was the one with Johnny Depp, and I was like, nah, I'd rather wait to see
Yeah.
him solo, and there was never a chance. We saw
Well,
him,
but there were nights we saw him at the Greek.
yeah, with ZZ Top and once with Brian Wilson,
Correct. Both of those nights were
and they came
excellent.
out and jammed at the end.
Correct. In fact, Billy Gibbons goes, "What the heck? Let's bring back Jeff Beck."
Now,
Literally.
the first time I saw Jeff Beck, it was
Yes.
Jeff Beck at the Miami Arena with Stevie Ray Vaughan opening, and then
Amazing.
he came out at the end and jammed with Jeff Beck, and they did
Amazing.
going down. And Stevie Ray over it's an overpowering force of guitar, you know.
Oh, yes.
I got to see him twice, and luckily so. But to see him and Jeff Beck jamming was just like,
Never got to see Stevie
yeah,
Ray. Jeff Beck in a club. Think of that. It was a
yeah,
club in Austin, Texas. He came to South by Southwest. It was called La Zona Rosa.
okay,
I'm told it's no longer there.
all right,
We walk in, Jeff Beck in full fury, full in a club. That was
cool,
very intense. And Jeff Beck opening for Santana at the Mann Center in the 90s in Philly, where like most of the people hadn't showed up yet. Me and my buddy went way up front for Jeff Beck set. This is when he had
nice,
Terry Bozzio
yep.
and was doing that guitar shop stuff.
It's probably around the same time I saw him, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? His career came back.
Yep,
He started touring more. There was a while where you did not see Jeff Beck for 20 years.
right,
I mean, the fact that I saw him in 76 was insane. You know,
insane.
you just did not see him.
No,
Because he didn't want to play the game.
right,
Speaking of which, I literally we have done a great job here. I wrote down one more thing
yes,
on my list.
which
It
is
was the reason I'm wearing this shirt. I don't know if you can see the shirt.
I'll have to tilt it. Ah,
And
Buffalo
it's
Springfield.
so for anyone who was from the 60s, there was, of course, the Beatles,
Yep,
there was the Beach Boys, there was the Byrds. But there were other bands with a B, of which Buffalo Springfield was much beloved. A couple
yep,
years later, Neil Young, Stephen Stills, Richie Furay, who founded Poco, amazing band, just several albums. No one, virtually no one, saw them back in the day.
right.
Then they announced a reunion. They literally did 7 shows.
That's it.
That's it. They did 2 in Oakland, 2 at the Wiltern Theater in LA, and the ticket prices were insane.
Right.
2 at the Santa Barbara Bowl, a place that's worthy of mention in
Yep.
this video.
Yep.
And then they flew to Bonnaroo, which
Wow.
is a festival in Tennessee.
Yeah.
There was an entire tour booked, and Neil Young went, you know what, I'm not feeling it.
Wow.
So you either got to see one of these 7 shows
Right.
or you did not. And Susan and I drove to Santa Barbara and we saw one of those shows,
Awesome.
not knowing that they were going to cancel the tour
Right.
and all that. Right.
Sure.
Did buy the t-shirt that night, not always so. And you know what? It was like, wow, it was cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it was cool because there you were, and it's a great venue, tiny venue. You know, you've
Sure.
been there.
And you never
And there's
thought you were going to
Stevens.
go to see the Buffalo. Like when I walked up to
No, it was
traffic,
impossible.
I
And
remember
there's
walking up
Stevens.
to walking
Yeah,
up to traffic show going like, I have a ticket. I'm going to see Traffic
how
in
is this even
1994 or
possible?
whatever. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And when they did a song called Bluebird, and apparently back in the day, Steven and Neil would face off. They
Okay.
faced off.
Nice.
This is all before Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. This
Yes.
is where it all began.
Right.
And Neil wore the buckskin fringy thing he wore back in the day.
How cool.
And when they did their one actual hit, For What It's Worth,
Yep.
stop, hey, what's that sound? Neil literally said, and now we're going to do our hit, which was just so adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we felt very privileged, but sometimes in life you feel great, as we did that night with
Yep.
you at your friend's house,
Yep.
your friend of a friend. But
Yep.
then later, when it's the one time only of it all, you go, isn't that interesting?
when
How
you
that
when,
happened.
when you don't know how special the show you're seeing is, I'll give you one for me that to me, and I want to talk to you about your best shows in LA at different venues. At the Forum, I got to see that Temple of the Dog show with Chris Cornell,
Uh,
and who knew he was going to die? Who knew that
exactly.
was it? So that was
Exactly.
on its own just one of the best shows, magical, unbelievable. The Mother Love Bone songs, all of it, just like every single song was, oh my gosh. And then he died. Like, I mean, I'm sure you in your concert going history have either seen shows like that where you saw it, you didn't know it was going to be the last, or said, I'll see him next time. And then there was no next time. Like I skipped
Well,
Nirvana. I'll see
there
Nirvana
was,
next time.
yeah, there was someone who was known named Jim Croce.
Yes.
Jim Croce opened for Watkins and Messina
Wow.
at Barton Hall, Cornell University, died a couple weeks later.
Damn.
And this was during my career. Haha. We would volunteer for the concert commission, Cornell
Oh,
Concert
nice.
Commission.
Perfect.
Sometimes as an usher, sometimes as quote security,
Right.
whatever that meant.
Right.
And that night was way up front. There was Jim Croce. It was him and a guitar player, just a duo. The
Yep.
songs were great. The audience ate it up. Lagos and Messina was a college favorite.
Yep.
And yeah, he was gone quite soon after that. That was quite haunting.
Shocking. Yeah, it is haunting. I mean, it's to have somebody just disappear like that, and there's people like Otis Redding never made it to Dock of the Bay being released, You think
Right.
about his biggest accomplishment, he never even knew, you know.
Exactly right.
What a couple other bands. Well, Neil Young, did you see him back in the day?
Seen Neil Young a bunch of times. Neil's great live. He can do it all. He can do acoustic. He can do
Right.
electric. Um,
Sometimes the Crazy Horse stuff is not for me as preferable
yeah,
as some of the acoustic
yeah,
stuff, but
yeah.
dude has so many
Listen,
songs.
I'll say this. Think about this. Paul Simon came to Cornell with two backup bands.
Two
Two
bands.
bands. This was a different era of economics or
Right.
whatever, or that Simon and Garfunkel publishing revenue. He could do whatever he wanted.
Right.
He brought with him a Peruvian band to do stuff like I've ever seen a fado and a snail. You know this music at all?
No.
Yes, yeah. You'd have to know some of the stuff. And he brought a gospel band to do
Wow.
Loves Me Like a Rock. Um, Cecilia,
Yep. Yep.
that was the two different backup bands, and he performed solo.
Wow.
Think about that. That's kind of
That's
insane.
intense.
No,
So
and it was
give
great. I mean, I'm a bad singer, as you know, but it was great.
give me a highlight show from the Roxy.
Wow. So I can't say I went to a bunch of shows there. I think when the movie This Is 40 came out, um, Graham Parker and the Rumor, who were part of that movie, came to the Roxy.
Oh,
And
how cool.
that was exciting because we are huge fans of Graham Parker and the Rumor.
Yep.
Hold on.
Ah,
Can you get
perfect.
that?
Yep. Out now.
All right. And that is from the London Underground. Um, so they came to LA
Yeah.
and that was at the Roxy. Um, Went to the Troubadour a bit more.
So what's some
Um,
highlight shows from the Troob?
I
It's hard. There's so many. Uh,
I know. It's also making the brain work.
yes.
You're working me hard here, Robbie.
Well, you and I know we had to have seen some shows at the Troubadour, but I feel like I've been to so many like just random shows, and sometimes they'll have. I remember when James Taylor and Carole King came there, and
Yeah, that
you
thing.
couldn't get a ticket. But I loved when I was writing for Keyboard Magazine, I'd go see new bands whose music I enjoyed, and some of them never went anywhere. Some of them, it was
I
one
know
and done. You might
for
have seen
sure.
probably, I'm sure, along the way, bands that you were like, this band's going to be huge, and then nothing became of them, or a band that you saw early on and you were
Well,
surprised.
sure. I mean, when I saw Elvis Costello and the Attractions, I did. I thought this is the future of music. He's still around today. He's done
Yeah.
pretty good for himself.
Yeah,
Um, when I saw you two, I would never have predicted what happened in a few short years with them. Although I think it
interesting.
really took till '87
Yeah,
with Joshua Tree, and this was still '81. It was the
yeah,
second album.
sure.
Um, on a side note, in '81, I took a date to see an unknown stand-up comic named Eddie Murphy,
Oh,
and
how
he
cool.
was funny. Uh, I didn't get anywhere with that date, I might add. I thought but he was funny, but you again could not have predicted
Right.
his film career, any of that. But I felt very lucky having seen Little Feat with Lowell George
Oh, there's one. Did you
during.
see the Thanks I'll Leave It Here tour that he died on?
No, that was a solo tour.
Right.
I did see actual Little Feat
With Lowell George.
with Lowell George
Tasty.
doing, yeah, twice, which was, very bueno and
Yes.
still a favorite.
Yep.
Feel fortunate for that.
And I think they're still they just put out
Yeah,
an album of some sort. I think Little Feat still going.
yes, but he's been dead since 1979, sadly.
Sadly. How about Chicago? Terry Kath.
Never saw Chicago.
Santana?
Um, yes, yes. Saw Santana a couple times in the 90s, and it was fun. It was still before Smooth and all
Yep.
that. Um,
Nice long jams.
just saw Santana this calendar year at Jazz Fest in New Orleans,
Oh, how cool.
and they got a huge reaction. The drummer is amazing. It's his wife,
Right. Cindy Blackman.
amazing.
Yep.
Carlos chewed gum through the entire concert. And I said to a friend who was with us, I was still debating whether he was more interested in the gum or
Or the guitar.
the guitar. But whenever it was his turn, what came out was just like incredible. I
Right.
mean, you couldn't even say that his soul wasn't in it. It's
Right.
just they did the kind of set you do for very large crowds,
Yep.
and it was all hits,
Yep.
and he could not have been more bored. But in
Interesting.
terms of the set list,
Yep.
and the band was at it,
Right.
and the audience was delighted with the set list. That's the gum.
Yeah.
But when it was time to show why it's still his name
Yep.
on the band, yeah.
Out it came.
Here's a reunion that was exciting at the Forum was to see the five members of Fleetwood Mac,
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
Big Five.
And a big five.
The Big Five. My brother had seen them actually at their peak in the heyday.
And you didn't back in those days?
Did not. Um, but seeing them when they came finally back
Yep.
around before it splintered again.
And before Christine
Christine
died.
McVeigh. I had
Yeah.
seen Stevie Nicks with um, which was a different story, as a solo act.
Right.
I thought she was quite poor that night.
It
Um,
happens. Everybody can
with
have a bad night.
Fleetwood Mac. That had to do with she changed like her costume after every song,
Too much.
and it was too much. But also, not only did the lighting go down, the band had to start every song having stopped playing,
Ah,
and so the momentum and the
right.
band's ability
The
to
pacing.
build, to yeah, and she was accenting her look, but she was not at her most svelte.
How about the Eagles back in the day? Or
Never
just
saw the
Eagles?
Eagles. Saw Jackson Brown
Okay.
early,
David
multiple
Lindley.
times. Not the Eagles.
How about Led
Go ahead.
Zeppelin?
Never saw Zeppelin. Never saw Leonard Skinner.
Hendrix?
What? Okay, they're telling me I'm going to have a delivery around 5 o'clock. What time do you have there now?
I have coming up on that time, so we can wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
think.
love, I could talk like this with you forever because
No, I know, but I
it's a
think for the
never,
courtesy of whoever might watch this at any point, I think we've actually covered a lot of turf.
some great
I'm
stuff.
sure I will think of other stuff. You
I'm
know,
sure. Well, we could
I
always
will.
at some point down the road have a revisit and talk
Okay,
because I'm
so
sure.
here's how I have to end. So the Clash is a great band who I saw in Philly. My friend and I went to see him in London.
Wow. All right.
They played at a now defunct venue called the Hammersmith Palais.
Yes.
They were amazing. The crowd was a hometown rabid London crowd. It was super exciting. They have a song called
White Man in Hammersmith Palais.
They Do Indeed. And that night, they did White Man in Hammersmith
You
Palais
kind of have to.
in the Hammersmith Palais. Yeah.
Nice.
And it all came together, Robbie.
That's awesome.
Everything for a moment made sense. Um, it doesn't last, but yeah.
That's great.
So I think that's a perfect way to end. That was June of 1980.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
So,
I so appreciate the time and catching up, and let's
all
do it
right,
again someday soon.
we'll do. We'll talk soon. All right,
All
buddy.
right. Thank you so much.
Peace. All right, bye.